Hey everyone, thanks for joining us this week on the Niners news update. It's unfortunately a bit of a somber week because for the first time we we next week won't be having another game to bring you, which is kind of a bummer. Obviously,
Yeah,
great season. I just want to say super proud of all the Niners and the season that they had. I mean, a hell of a job from a team that started 3-5 to finish down the stretch 10-7.
yeah. I was gonna say they didn't start out that great. Like the season did start out kind of rough, but yeah, they definitely came together and we're looking very good. I mean, this game was extremely close. The Rams, as I said before, they looked like a really good team. They did look like the stronger team in my opinion before the game. So, but the fact it was that close also wasn't that surprising because the Niners also
Sorry.
looked extremely good as well. So I just the Rams to me they just look a lot like they just look like a Super Bowl team to me this year, and
Yeah.
they are going. But I really hope that Joe Burrow and the Bengals does takes them out. But
Yeah, you're not wrong about any of that assessment, unfortunately. The Rams are definitely a very good team. They're very well coached by McVay. So, obviously, the only thing that I, kind of thought about like going into that game was the fact that, like I mentioned to you previously, that we had six straight wins against them.
mm-hmm.
49ers versus the Rams. So,
Yeah, and two within this season.
two within this season, yeah, and one that was like a total blowout, like a 31-10 game. Uh, so um, so basically, let's get into the game just a little bit before we move on, and I can start the process because honestly, it was a rough night. I was definitely pretty bummed about that. But yeah, I mean, at one point we had a 17-7 lead. You know, Jimmy had thrown two touchdown passes on the evening. He was 16 of 30, 232 yards, two touchdowns, one interception. Um, Debo, the leading receiver, four catches for 72 yards and a touchdown. Kittle also two catches for 27 yards and a touchdown. Ayuk had four catches for 69 yards. Um, the telling story on this, honestly, was the fact that the Niners really struggled to run the ball, which was completely different. I mean, you'll remember in that one, the first matchup against the Rams when we beat them 31-10. We went on that 19 play drive that was super long. That
Was that the 11-minute drive? Was it that?
it,
Or
it,
because you guys had two, you had like a 9 minute or 10, and then Washington had like a 10 minute something, and then you guys got another one. I think the following week
I
that was
think it
like
might have even
11
been
something.
like 13 minutes, if I'm remembering
What?
correctly. I'll have to look it up.
Damn.
But yeah. So anyway, but like so in the previous two games we'd been able to run the ball well, but in this game, Debo had 7 carries for 26 yards. Elijah Mitchell 11 carries for 20 yards. So I mean the Niners only managed to run for 50 total yards, and the Rams outrushed us 70 yards to 50. So they didn't run the ball great either. But I mean the difference was Matt Stafford was 31 of 45,
Mm.
337 yards, two touchdowns. He did throw one pick to Jimmy Ward. Should have had one other pick, to Jaquaski Tart, but unfortunately it was dropped late in the fourth quarter, which could have definitely sealed the game for us. So, obviously the loss not on anybody in particular. It was just a lot of unfortunate things that happened. Jimmy getting pressured
Hmm.
up the middle on the last play of the game by Aaron
Jimmy
Donald.
also being banged up to some
Yeah,
extent
yeah.
definitely did not help.
On a just like a jailbreak where the Aaron Donald just got like almost right through the line. Jimmy had like no
I know,
chance,
yeah, that was terrible, man.
and he
It's like
was
he
trying.
thought there was hope, and then of course, who is it? Who was it? None other than
Yeah,
Aaron fucking
and they
Donald.
didn't get a sack all game. That was like, and they still didn't because he got it off and it was a pick. But like that was like really
Yeah,
the
yeah.
first major pressure. But the Rams stopped the run well all game, and you got to give them credit holding us to we wanted to come in and run the ball, and
Yeah, of
they,
course.
they they made us have to beat them with Jimmy, which he almost did. That pick came on the last play of the game, so
Hmm.
obviously Jimmy made some other errors at other points in the game with like missed opportunities on throws, but this loss wasn't on any particular player. This loss wasn't certainly on Jimmy. Jimmy gave us a lot, in the 5 years that we had him. And we're excited to have Trey, and more than likely we'll be moving on from Jimmy. But yeah, I mean, definitely not. It's great to make it as far as you did, but obviously, pretty
Oh, it's still
pretty
disappointing.
heartbreaking loss. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But obviously proud of the way that they played this season.
Yeah, to get that far, you have to be happy with your team, like in the
Yeah.
way they played. But yes, it doesn't make losing any easier.
Yeah, and then just one last thing to mention before I move on the stats. Want to also mention Robbie was 1 for 1 on field goals, so keeping his perfect postseason streak alive. And also the Niners defense had 2 sacks. Bosa had 1.5. Samson Ebukam was credited with a half sack. So Bosa, continuing to be,
An absolute monster.
just an absolute monster. 15.5 sacks in the regular season. And I want to say about like 5 in the postseason. I think he got at least 1 in every game. So definitely happy to have him. And that actually brings us into our next Niners news. After the heartbreaking loss at the end of the season press conference with John and Kyle, they discussed the futures of starter players Nick Bosa and Deebo Samuel, who are both in line for contract extensions this offseason. So John Lynch has said long-term deals for both players have been budgeted for, and so this was a quote that he had, John Lynch. And so just to get it out of the way, with he and Nick, we fully understand these guys are pillars of what we're trying to do here. We've been blessed that we've been aggressive because we've had a lot of the best players that we believe are some of the best in the league at what they do. And these guys are no different. And so we have really good lines of communication with their representatives. Those will continue. I'm not going to put timelines on it, but obviously planning has been done to account for those guys. And yes, there's some interesting dynamics with Deebo playing multiple positions, but bottom line is he's an excellent football player, and so I'm sure we'll find a way to get that done. Like I said, it's been budgeted for. So that's great news as a Niners fan to hear, because obviously we can't lose either of those guys.
No. Those are staples of the team.
Yeah.
Like you gotta keep those guys.
Yeah, the 5th-year option, which obviously the Niners are going to pick up on Bosa, as a 2019 first-round pick, would keep him under contract through 2023. Samuel has 1 more year left on his rookie deal. So the Niners would have to franchise tag him or free agent him after this season if it came to that. But obviously they're hoping to get a deal done sooner rather than later, if at all possible. And obviously with the anticipated departure of Jimmy, that could free upwards of about $25 million off the books in structuring new deals for both of them.
Right.
I saw something that was projected. Bosa's projected to make over like $30 million a year, and I was like, oh my god, that's a lot.
Holy shit!
Edge rusher. I mean, he's definitely one of our, other than Trent Williams, probably our best player. But
yeah,
I mean,
I don't know if he's worth that much. I mean, Jesus.
Well,
I would say he is personally, but for most edge rushers, like I don't know, man.
Yeah.
There's like a couple in the league that might warrant that much, but damn, that's a lot.
I think he's making on the top end of what they make. So
I would expect,
certainly excited to get them both under long-term contracts. I certainly would hate to ever see either of them in another uniform other than the Niners.
We got some news with him. We don't know what his plans are going to be.
We don't.
After his season ended after a fantastic divisional round loss to the Niners. I mean, it really wasn't a fantastic loss. I mean, the game kind of sucked, but you know what I mean. It was great that they won the game, but I guess after the game, he didn't hop on a jet and fly to Los Angeles frustrated and with his future hanging in the balance. The Packers quarterback stuck around in Green Bay. Sources say that he stayed in the building for a few extra days to plot out the team's future, huddling with Coach Matt LaFleur and others, mapping out what's next.
Yeah.
It left those in the organization with confidence moving forward that Rodgers will return for the 2022 season.
Yeah.
I know a lot of teams out there are hoping that that wouldn't be the case, and
Right.
maybe he would move
Right.
on somewhere.
I've seen
That's kind
even
of
the
what I
Niner
was
fans hoping.
expecting,
It's like even with like the
right?
future being Trey, even though we've invested like so much in Trey, they're like, if we could get Aaron, which I
Yeah.
mean I get it. It's like when Tom Brady was available, it's like if you can make a play, because how often has he ever been? He's never been a free agent before. So,
Yeah.
but
So
yeah,
it seems like he will possibly return, but it's really up in the air at this point. I mean, they're hoping that that's the case, but he
it
did say publicly that all options are on the table
yeah
moving forward. If from returning to retiring to
yeah
working with the team on a trade, or returning.
yeah
But he did say specifically he doesn't want to join any team in a rebuilding
right
situation.
right.
Obviously, a guy
Wants to
like
go to a
Aaron Rodgers,
contender.
he wants to go to a contender.
Yeah,
So you already
which is
know if you're a team that
understandable. He
really, if you're
deserves
not a
that.
good team, he does. I mean, it would
Yeah.
be nice to see him go somewhere like Washington, that needs a quarterback. But that's the problem with trying to land these high name good quarterbacks. They oftentimes they don't
See,
want to go to a team like
See,
that, and
see, the problem is, I think Washington is a quarterback away from being. I think they are a contender
I
right
think
now.
so as
Like,
well.
so
But I
I
think
mean,
given the name situation and just the whole, I mean, Washington. I it's my team and all, but Jesus, a
yeah,
lot of toxic bullshit, and the owner sucks. Like it's just a lot of bullshit there, and I'm
yeah,
not surprised that players don't want to go to a team like that. So
yeah,
when I see something like that from somebody, like, well, I don't know if I'd say they're rebuilding, but it's just there's I don't know.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, the Packers have a lot of questions. Obviously, they've got some salary cap issues themselves, and
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Adams, top receiver, needs a new contract or a franchise tag. Um, so. And Devontae Adams has already said that he doesn't want to play in Green Bay if Aaron Rodgers doesn't stay as well. Um,
Right.
so the team is trying to reload as much as possible. Try to keep their Super Bowl window alive because they are still a good team, one game away from the Super Bowl. And
Yep.
really, if that game could have gone either way with us, it was really a shit show in the
It came
snow.
down to that blocked punt. Honestly, if it
Yeah,
weren't for that blocked punt and return touchdown, they probably
and
wouldn't have
then
won
and
that
then
game.
the golden leg of Robbie. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
I mean, who's God bless him, 21 for 21, career postseason. But yeah, so obviously they want him back, and then recently on his weekly Pat McAfee appearance, he said there's a variety of realities that he'll consider. He said I think some of the factors are the direction of the team and the organization and how I feel I fit in the future. Um, Mentally, do I still have the passion, the competitiveness, the desire to keep playing? I think it's a feeling, and you just kind of know when the off season has started. When you're a hyper competitive individual, you also dream or think about what the fairy tale ending is. It doesn't necessarily mean Super Bowl necessarily, but that's a pretty damn good fairy tale ending. So I mean, maybe he's still going to come back, and I he's not going to retire. I mean, I'm just going to go
I
out
don't
and
think
say
he's going
that
to
right now.
retire.
I
I
don't
would
think he's
bet.
going
I
to
wouldn't
retire.
bet that either. Not
Yeah,
yet. He's only like 37
yeah.
or 38.
He's
I mean,
38.
that
Yeah.
38. Okay, so I would expect at least another
And
two
honestly,
seasons out of
he's
him.
he's the last dude. He's the last one, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude. We
Tom's out
like
now.
like
Ben's out.
of our generation of quarterbacks, dude. We've lost Ben. We've lost Tom. We've lost
Which
Eli.
I don't really care
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
Ben one. I'm kind of glad to see him
Well, I
go.
mean,
But
I'm just saying, it's the end. We've lost Eli Manning. We've lost Philip Rivers. We've lost Tom. I said Tom Brady already.
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith. Who are the other one? Drew Brees. I don't know how
Oh
I
yeah,
just
yeah,
meant
yeah.
yeah.
I don't
So
know
like
how
our
we.
whole
Yeah,
our whole generation of the guys that we grew up like Aaron Rodgers is the last one, man. I mean, he's the last gunslinger.
yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, you're right. Damn.
So
I mean, you got Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's still out there.
yeah,
I was like, there's at least like another one or
yeah,
two that are
yeah,
like you could maybe put in that. And
yeah.
Jimmy's like 30, but no, I know what you're
Yeah,
saying. I know
yeah.
what you're saying.
Jimmy's a young man, and relatively, I mean, for 3 years he was a backup. 3, 4 years,
That's why he's less known. If he had played since he was like 21, then he'd
right.
probably be as well
Yeah,
known as these guys
yeah,
too. But
yeah. He was practicing the sneak, and that is an excellent
I'm trying to
segue.
get under my jacket back here. There you go. Let me
Okay,
help you out there, puppy.
yeah, there you go. No worries. And yeah, that Jimmy talk is actually an excellent segue into our next topic, which is possible destinations. Obviously, as we've mentioned, at the Niners' end of the season, press conferences where they were, kind of recapping the season, Jimmy spoke with the media and was certainly, you know, very open and honest in the fact that, it would be more than likely that he would be moving on. Obviously, he was more so that way than the Niners because when they talked to John and Kyle, they were more like, anything's a possibility. But it sounds more than likely like both parties are moving on. And even if Jimmy stays, I would more anticipate that to be because honestly, like I wouldn't mind Jimmy staying, but I think that for him
Yeah.
to stay, he would have to restructure his contract and to stay
Hmm.
as a backup. And if he's got offers to start somewhere, I don't see. I mean, he does love the
He's going to
team.
take it.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that he'd want to play though
That's
over
probably
there.
why they'd say like all possible options. Like, I mean, even
Yeah,
if it's like backup ish, I mean, if it was Trey and him again, I'm sure they'd let Trey start most of the time to give him the experience. But like, maybe they got to put Jimmy in. That'd be
yeah. I
good.
mean,
But
well, like, but yeah. I mean, and I think Trey's gonna be really good. I mean, like I've liked Trey since the draft process. But yeah, I mean, as we've learned, watching Niners games in the last few seasons, what happens if Trey gets injured? Then what? Then we go into
right,
Nate Sudfeld. Is that our plan?
go do some
I
more
mean,
Nick Mullins.
what happened in the one game I saw Nate Sudfeld play? I mean, he fucking basically threw the Redskins the division, or threw Washington the division, playing for the Eagles. Remember that shit? Like they took
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts out when they had a chance to win, and I was like, why is Nate Sudfeld coming in the game?
yeah, that was weird.
That made no sense. Doug Peterson, it was his last game everything's coming around. His last game in an Eagles uniform. But yeah, as far as I don't know why I said uniform. He doesn't wear a uniform. He wears the Eagles insignia though. Anyway,
Same difference.
moving on. Um, so as far as possible destinations that have been discussed for Jimmy, and a lot of this depends on what these teams do, but I think the most likely three are going to be obviously the New Orleans Saints. Obviously, their quarterback situation right now is a bit of an unknown. They had Jameis Winston, but I think he's set to be a free agent. Taysom Hill, we know isn't going to
He's
be their
not. He's
starter.
not a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
I really like Taysom Hill as a
So
player. He's really fun to watch, but
so yeah, exactly. And if New
not as a
Orleans got
starter.
and if New Orleans got Jimmy as a starter, they could
With
have
Taysom as
Taysom
the
Hill. Yeah,
backup,
yeah,
that would be phenomenal for
yeah,
them. I hope that's not the case, but
yeah.
I'm not a big Saints fan. I think
Exactly.
personally, though, if I was betting, I would think Tampa would go for him. I
Yeah,
don't know. Maybe that's just because Tom was there. Maybe that's maybe why I think that. But it just seems like Tampa seems like a stronger team. They're an established team where,
they
like,
are. Yeah,
it seems like that would maybe be the most likely one. And then I guess also there is Pittsburgh.
yeah,
I kind of hope that isn't the case, but they
yeah.
also, I mean,
Well,
they got Dwayne Haskins. I mean, shit, they need somebody.
Dwayne Haskins and Mason Rudolph are
And
the
Mason Rudolph, right?
the top two quarterbacks, and obviously, as we've discussed in great detail, the quarterback draft class isn't as deep as it's been in years past. Um, I think everybody said that any of the quarterbacks drafted in the first round last year would be drafted over any of the guys that are in this draft. So
Yeah.
it makes it more likely that Jimmy is going to end up in one of these places.
I'd
Pittsburgh,
also say
obviously.
there is a small chance he ends up in Washington. I'm not saying there
Yeah,
hasn't been any
yeah,
talk of that,
yeah.
but
We
like
were we were going to mention that
Washington
too.
does need a quarterback, so we'll get into that more later in the Washington
Yeah,
segment. But which
yeah,
there's also some big news on that
yeah,
front, which I'm sure you
yeah,
already know, but we'll get into
yeah.
that whole thing.
And another one too worth mentioning. Yeah, Washington is a place, and then also Miami, and Miami,
Right.
especially if they end up hiring um, Mike McDaniel, his former offensive coordinator with the Niners, as the head coach there. Also, a few of these things. There could be Las Vegas with the Raiders, with Josh McDaniels getting that job, being his former offensive coordinator. If the Raiders
That's
move
if they
on,
move on
if
from
they
Derek
move on from
Carr.
Derek Carr,
Yeah.
exactly. So a lot of
Which
these
I
things.
think would be really stupid. If you're going to move on from Derek Carr and get Jimmy, you're an idiot. Like, no offense to
Yeah,
Jimmy. I love
yeah,
Jimmy, and
yeah,
Jimmy is a decent quarterback.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
put Derek Carr and Jimmy on almost the same level. Like,
yeah.
they're very close.
Yeah, no, I mean, I honestly like. I've been saying for years that I think Derek Carr is probably a top 10 quarterback in the league. I
Yeah,
think
Derek
he's
Carr
just
is probably a little better than Jimmy.
yeah,
Maybe like
yeah.
slightly better than
I
Jimmy.
think so. I think Jimmy's probably top 15. I mean,
Right,
I
right.
think Jimmy does a lot of things better than. I mean, Jimmy's underrated in the play action game, and I mean,
Mhm.
as you know, we'll. I know we can't put up anything from the game, but maybe we can put up some clips from his like postseason press conference. I mean, like he's on the Alex Smith level of like teammate caliber. I mean, like as far as
Absolutely.
like a guy that like never, like threw any of his teammates under the bus. I mean, he was just like a consummate professional, dealt with, adversity every single day. People saying that, he was like garbage and should be benched. Obviously, the ongoing Trey situation, injuries,
Mhm.
played hurt, through a sprained thumb and a sprained shoulder, and got us to the NFC Championship. So I think Jimmy deserves a lot of respect and credibility, for what he did. And I think he's definitely underrated. Yeah, I mean he did have a lot of good things, and all those teams that we mentioned also have good defenses. The Saints, Buccaneers, Pittsburgh, the Raiders have a pretty good defense. Um,
Washington's
Washington
supposed to.
Washington has a good defense. Yeah, so all those teams would help, and teams that have a good running game, would obviously be beneficial. You imagine, I mean, it would be tough to watch, but imagine him going to New Orleans where he has like Michael Thomas to throw to, and
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara to hand the ball off to. I mean that doesn't seem like too bad of a situation, especially now with Tom retiring. If he goes to any of those NFC South teams, they're all up for grabs. There's no Tom, there's no Sean Payton anymore. The whole NFC South's up for grabs now. But
Yep.
we'll have to follow that situation. Obviously, we do know that Jimmy will be moving on. Thanks for 5 years, 10, and all you did for us. We appreciate you. You know,
Oh
definitely
yeah.
thanks
I
for
really.
thanks
I
for the
mean, I
memories.
if we can't get anybody else better, I mean, if Jimmy went to Washington, at least that'd be cool because I like Jimmy. It'd be cool to see him
I think
to
he'd
go.
surprise a lot of people. I mean, like I think that you probably watch more Niners games than well, you definitely do than
And
probably
any,
most
yeah.
Washington fans. Yeah, so I think you would
Oh
probably
yeah.
have a better idea. And I think that if you went to Washington, I think people would be really pissed at first.
Oh yeah.
But
People would be so pissed. I can tell you firsthand from the people I know.
but
Yeah, no,
yeah,
no one wants
but
Jimmy.
I mean they didn't want Alex Smith either, and I mean
Yeah. And then Alex Smith's gone. You're like, oh come on, where's Alex Smith at?
where's Alex? Yeah, can we get Alex? But yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
don't know what you got till it's gone. I mean that's how. I hope that's not how we feel with Jimmy. I mean I really have a lot of faith in Trey, but I just hope.
Right.
You do, all you guys, the media. Since I got here, you guys have been awesome. It's been some ups and downs between all of us, but for the most part, you guys have been awesome. Just good group to deal with. You guys are very, very engaging, and it's just fun to be around you guys. You're from Eric making the jokes to everything in between. Just it's been a fun ride, guys, and I really appreciate you for that. And yeah, I'll miss you guys. So thank you guys again. Faithful, thank you very much for everything. It's been crazy, man. Just all the comebacks at Levi's, comebacks on the road, ups and downs. It's been a hell of a ride, guys. I love you guys. So see ya.
Also in Niner news, despite getting interest as a head coaching candidate, in his first year as a defensive coordinator, D'Amico Ryans has rejected the Vikings offer to become the head coach. It was expected to have been a done deal if he wanted the job, but he has informed everyone that he will be returning to San Francisco for a second season. So we are ecstatic to have him back, as I know at least I am, because I think with what he did, I mean, we had a great defense. We ranked in the top, five overall, and we had issues at cornerback all season with Jason Verrett going down game one. So I mean, you figure, Josh Norman had a league-leading 7 defensive penalties, and he was in there most of the season. Then we had Emmanuel or
Yeah.
Ambry Thomas, who was a rookie learning on the go, and
He
Emmanuel.
did a lot of good stuff though. Ambry
He,
Thomas
he
did.
did, and then
Well,
we
at
had
least he.
Emmanuel Mosley, who was our best corner that we had in the defense. He even missed some time with injuries. So
Mhm.
I fully expect the Niners to, you know, early in the draft. I know we don't have a first round pick, but I do expect them to address cornerback probably with their first pick of the draft. I would anticipate.
Yep, that's basically what we got up to look forward to is the
Yeah,
draft.
yeah,
That's the
and
next. Well, after the Super Bowl, of course, but in terms of Niners and
yeah,
teams that aren't in the Super Bowl, that's what we got to look forward to.
Yeah, and I mean that's anticipated. I mean that's good news because we may actually lose, as we discussed earlier, Mike McDaniel to the Dolphins for their head coaching job as our offensive coordinator. So hopefully not. Hopefully he's able to stay as well, but we'll have to see. It did seem like the Niners made a move anticipating the Dolphins would hire him when they made the move to hire former Los Angeles Chargers head coach Anthony Lynn. Funny enough, Anthony Lynn is a former 49ers running back as a backup running back in the NFL. Anthony Lynn was head coach of the Chargers for 4 seasons. Um, you know, interestingly enough, if you want to talk about potential, you know, black head coaches, he is an African American head coach that get fired with winning records. Anthony Lynn was 33 and 31 after 4 seasons, so he did have a winning record. So another one. I will say those 2 winning seasons were the earlier 2 years, and then the later 2 years were the losing seasons. So I mean, it could have just
Well,
been because
yeah. See, context matters there.
it
You
does.
say that over 4 years, and you're like, well, I mean, that's not like a great record, but it's at least above 50.
I'm a very and one of those years was a 12-4 year with.
Oh, so some of those years were not good then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean,
those last 2 couldn't have been very good.
yeah. So, like I said, I think that let me get that up real quick. But I think that move was really anticipatory of losing Mike McDaniel to the Dolphins. But yeah, so he was 9-7 his first year, 12-4 his second year, 5-11 his third year, and then 7-9 his third year, or his fourth year. I'm sorry, with the Chargers. And he was fired after the 2020 season. And obviously, they hired Brandon Staley, who was.
That sounds reasonable enough. I mean,
into the playoffs. Yeah, I mean that could just be circumstance. I wouldn't say that seems as like if he had the 2 winning seasons, like Brian Flores had his 2 winning seasons at the end there. So it's like that's a little bit
his is a little bit
like,
different. Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, we're getting Anthony Lynn. He's known as a great offensive mind, even though he wasn't the best head coach and made questionable clock management decisions. He is also known for developing Justin Herbert into the Rookie of the Year because he coached him. And who do we have starting under center next year?
Trey. So that'll be helpful to have.
Yeah. And in 2018, Anthony Lynn's Chargers had the best running game in football. So he adds an element to hopefully be able to help our great run game get even better now that we have the. And he was also the offensive coordinator in Buffalo when they had Tyrod Taylor. So he's worked in offenses where they've had mobile quarterbacks before. So excited to get Coach Lynn on the roster. And obviously, we've also reported that as of today, Richard Hightower, our 5-year special team coordinator, will be signing with the Bears. So he's out. Early rumors for replacements are Rich Bisaccia, Raiders special teams coach and interim head coach, and then former New York Giants head coach Joe Judge is actually in the consideration for Niners special teams coordinator. So we'll continue to monitor that. I really hope it's not Joe Judge.
Yeah,
although I'm sure he's a lot more competent to run the special teams than he is an actual entire football team. But
probably. That's probably true. But still don't want him.
Yeah, neither. But stay tuned, Niner faithful. I know it sucks. I know it's heartbreaking, but we will be back. I mean, enjoy the season for what it was. Be proud of it because, we had a hell of a run. I mean, to start 3-5 and really seem out of it and everybody be calling for Jimmy's head and then, to turn it around. And in the games where we needed Trey to step in and win for us, we did. And, I mean, it was just a hell of a season. So join us back next week and, we'll recap any news that we have that happens throughout the week. But take it easy, everybody.
Take it easy, everyone.
You do, all you guys, the media. Since I got here, you guys have been awesome. It's been some ups and downs between all of us, but for the most part, you guys have been awesome. Just good group to deal with. You guys are very, very engaging, and it's just fun to be around you guys. You're from Eric making the jokes to everything in between. Just it's been a fun ride, guys, and I really appreciate you for that. And yeah, I'll miss you guys. So thank you guys again. Faithful, thank you very much for everything. It's been crazy, man. Just all the comebacks at Levi's, comebacks on the road, ups and downs. It's been a hell of a ride, guys. I love you guys. So, see ya.
All right. If you like what you saw and you enjoyed our content, make sure that you hit the subscribe button on the, it's right here, for more content. And then you can get notified every time we post shit and, update you on the latest and greatest NFL news. Next week, we recap the Super Bowl. So hopefully, go Bengals. And
Yeah, definitely go Bengals.
Who Day Nation, I'm hoping that they get that win.
Need Joey Burrow to pull through.
Joey B. Like I said, I got my Bengal orange on, so I'm hoping, we'll see what happens. Like I said, like and subscribe. Roscoe.
You just got this done
for more Roscoe content as well. But thanks for joining us on the Extra Point Show, and 20 episodes, everybody. So you guys.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
you guys have been fucking solid, so we appreciate you guys. So, thank you very much. Have a good night.
Have a good night.